Please rise. Please be seated. In the presence of the honorable dignitaries present today, I welcome you all to the inaugural session of the Orientation Cum Induction Program 2022 for the first year BA LLB Honours and BBA LLB Honours students into SVKM's and MIMS Kirit P. Mehta School of Law. Before we move further, in order to give this occasion an auspicious beginning from God Almighty, we will have the lighting of the lamp and Saraswati Vandana, followed by National Anthem and an MIMS anthem. So I humbly request the dignitaries on the dais to please light the lamp, and I request all those present here to please rise for the occasion and remain standing till the completion of an MIMS anthem.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणां वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा पूजिता सा मात्पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
Wait. We will now have the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
And now we will have the MIMS anthem.
We set the standard, we are the future.
everyone. Thank you, dignitaries. It is a moment of honor to have with us reputed dignitaries grace the inaugural session of Orientation Cum Inaugural Program. Our chief guest this afternoon, retired Judge, Bombay High Court, Ms. Roshan Dalvi. Our special invitee, Executive Director, Legal and Corporate Affairs, Hindustan Unilever, Mr. Dev Bajpai. Our Registrar, SVKMs and MIMS, Dr. H. Ravi Shankar Kamath, and Dr. Nazima Munshi, sitting on behalf of Dean KPM SOL, Dr. Durgamani Patel, in absentia. I now request our Registrar, Sir, Dr. Kamath, to welcome the Chief Guest, Ms. Dalvi, with a bouquet and a token of our appreciation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I now request Kamath, sir, to welcome the special invitee, Mr. Dev Bajpai, sir, with a bouquet and a token of our appreciation. Thank you, sir. Dear friends, the purpose of this orientation program is to acquaint you with our law school and what you can expect from us in the coming 5 years of your legal education. A quote generally attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson says, "There is no better way to exercise the imagination than the study of the law." Through the study of law, one is expected to forge a bond among three faculties of human mind: rationality, ethics, and the power of imagination. Our law school strives to provide you with a comprehensive education that enables you to develop the three intellectual faculties and prepare you to face the challenges of the legal profession. The dignitaries present with us today will touch upon the profound role played by law, NMIMS University, and our law school in providing you with the necessary support for your legal education. I would like to inform our honorable dignitaries and all those present here that our Dean, Dr. Durgamani Patel, is recovering from COVID. She has sent her blessings and welcome address through senior faculty, Dr. Nazima Munshi. So please allow me to give a brief introduction of our Dean, Dr. KPM SOL, Dr. Durgamani Patel, in absentia, who will speak to you about Kirit P. Mehta School of Law as it stands today and what will it be tomorrow. Dr. Durgamani Patel worked as a senior professor in Savitri Phule, Pune University, Maharashtra, has more than 30 years of teaching and research experience at undergraduate and postgraduate law courses, along with 4 years of legal practice at Labour Court. On her educational front, she was a merit holder at LLB and a national rank holder along with JRF and SRF. Dr. Patel got her PhD in 1995 in the area of labor laws. 15 students have received PhD in law under her guidance. She has also guided more than 320 students for LLM dissertations and postdoctoral fellow. She has authored 2 books, published numerous articles in national and international journals, as well as presented papers in numerous national and international conferences. She has worked on 6 major and minor research projects on subjects including child rights, health law training for students, antitrust laws, labor rights and competition law, women police officers challenges, rights and duties, rights of women, domestic workers in India. On international front, Dr. Patel has 11 international visits and foreign associations through Erasmus Mundus and Euphrates scholarships as part of academic staff mobility exchange program in countries like Spain, Netherlands, Ireland, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. She is an active member of several university committees and is associated with many law schools and universities for administering their PhD coursework structure and part of overall academic and administrative committees. I invite Senior Faculty Dr. Nazima Munshi to read the welcome address on behalf of Dr. Durgamani Patel.
A very good afternoon to all of you, dignitaries on the dais, and thank you, Rakesh sir. This is a message from our Dean, Dr. Durgambani Patel ma'am. She writes, SVKM's NMIMS Kirit P. Mehta School of Law is recognized as a reputed law school in India, committed towards the vision of providing quality education. Here, students gain rich exposure to the professional world of law through academic excellence, research, internship skills, and other student-centric activities. Our law school ensures all necessary academic administrative support to the students to be professionals as per the contemporary needs of the industry, society, and the nation. Academically, in our teaching programs, contemporary course outlines are designed by using Bloom's taxonomy that finely blend academic concept with practical application of law, and interdisciplinary studies are delivered through innovative teaching pedagogies by meticulously mapping of programs, learning outcomes, course learning outcomes. We ensure assurance of learning in all our courses. Law, being a dynamic discipline, is always in a flux. Unless one possesses critical thinking, analytical skills, meaningful comprehension of legal discourse is not possible. Lawyers must possess logical, argumentative skills for which nurturing skills become imperative. In Kirit P. Mehta School of Law, various research-based committees, including Center for Excellence and Law Review committees, aim to promote research excellence among students. With active guidance by expert faculty members, a good number of students have published in peer-reviewed index journals to meet the interdisciplinary needs of BA-LLB and BB-LLB honors program. Our law school possesses experienced core faculties from diverse specialization in different subjects and streams. In addition, reputed academicians, renowned professional lawyers, law firms, consultants, and practitioners are invited as visiting professors to provide practical exposure of the legal profession to students. The school conducts distinguished lectures, competition, including international moot court competitions, mediation, debates, mock United Nations, legal awareness camp, in-house seminars, research publication, conferences, workshops, faculty development program, student development program, research papers presented by students, projects, cultural program, poetry, quiz, drama, etc. The list is on and on. For the overall development of the student as a placement-driven university, our dedicated placement team proactively assists students for internship opportunities and career placements. Kirit P. Mehta School of Law aims to be one of the best institutes of legal education in the world. We aim to produce successful, socially responsible, and accountable professionals. Our goal is to provide secular, inclusive, humane, modern, updated education, as well as training to the young brains, and to ensure that after obtaining convocation from NMIMS, they prove to be good human beings and successful individuals in life with happiness. We ensure that the students of Kirit P. Mehta School of Law become an asset to the organization that they serve and work with compassion and dedication in future. To achieve the aforesaid, we provide non-academic support, including modern campus with latest amenities, facilities, well-equipped classroom, multipurpose hall, library, IT labs, resource center, moot courtrooms, legal aid, placement cell, personality enhancement and development cell, cafeterias, medical facilities, sports facilities, and appropriate professional security of the campus. To ensure the manifold development of the personality of the students, staff, and faculty members, ensuring their proactive involvement in the development of law school, Kirit P. Mehta School of Law, therefore, is not merely an educational campus, but a place catering to the wholesome development of the personality of the student that equips them to face the competitive world with utmost zeal and enthusiasm, with a high degree of intellectual and emotional quotient. With these words, I welcome you to NMIMS Kirit Mehta School of Law. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now take this opportunity to introduce our Registrar, Dr. H. Ravishankar Kamath. Kamath sir completed his graduation in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Mysore University in the year 1989 and MTech in Power and Energy Systems from NIT Surathkal, Karnataka, and PhD from MAHE Manipal in the year 2008 in the field of renewable energy and soft computing. He has 32 years of experience in delivering planning, academic system development, academic quality enhancement, research and innovation operations management, administration, student management, documentation, liaison and coordination, and team management. I humbly invite our Registrar, Dr. Kamath sir, to deliver the address.
Good afternoon, everybody. Respected dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, dear parents, and my dear students. First of all, let me congratulate you for having taken admission at this great university, which is known in all India and having a best ranking in NRI, 51st rank out of 1,000 instituted participate in this ranking. So in NMIS or university, the parent body is SVKM. How many of you from Bombay here? Most of you. So some of you might have studied it in SVKM institutes also. For the benefit of those who are not familiar with that, SVKM stands for Sri Vile Parle Kelavani Mandal, which has started this light of education way back in 1934. It was a small school converted into a Gujarati school, run for a few years. It is a public trust. So it went on for years to year, and this entire Vile Parle belt was converted into education hub with number of colleges, like your Mitibadi College, Dheeraj Sangvi College, the Polytechnic, and number of other schools, more than 49 schools this SVKM is running, the mother body of NMIMS. So NMIMS basically is having 8 campuses across India, and we have 17 schools and 9 centers of excellence. So in a nutshell, we are imparting a very quality education as per the standards, as per the NEP also, National Education Policy. It is a multidisciplinary university. So here you will find a lot of interaction between your other stream, other than your law. You can interact with computer engineers, you can interact with economists, you can interact with the management. It is the best, well-equipped school with number of industry linkage and famous, high court lawyers, high court judges, and lot of legal consultants. All are in touch with our school and regularly visiting our schools. And as a law graduates, so what are the options for you? Once you have to practice yourself, or you have to join the court as a lawyers of anything, or you have to practice yourself. There are 3 options. All the 3 options are open here because the kind of education environment is here is taking care of everything. For example, we may be sitting here in this campus in Mumbai, but every day we are getting a report in our dashboard of what is happening across all the campuses regarding how many number of classes are covered, which are the subjects classes are not covered, in which campus, where is the deficiency. So everything will be displayed to your top management in a dashboard. So every day we'll come to know which campus, which class has not been conducted. So immediately we'll, rectify the action, rectified action will be taken. So that's what our institute, all the facilities, all the student discipline, everything is here. But only thing is, you people have to concentrate, focus more, and try to get maximum benefit of your stay here in these years, another 3, 4, whatever, depending upon your number of years here. So I just want to conclude my speech with some small story. So the story starts with a small place or kingdom. Every kingdom has one king, right? So there was one king, very good king, and people are loving him. He was a very good administration. Things are going well. But the problem was the king was not having any children. So people were thinking, after this king, what will happen? Who will rule us? And people are every day discussing that. Finally, people approached the king. Sir, you are doing very well, O king, but we don't know after you what will happen. Then king said, don't worry about it. I have already decided who is my predecessor, and I have written in a chit and I kept in one box. You can open this after my death. Then days are passing by, then some people are waiting when this king will die. So one day king died, and everybody were very curious who is the next person, and they opened that box. In that one chit was there. In that chit it is some conditions were written who will be the next king. So condition number 1, he should be more than 18 years. Simple condition. Second one, he should come and ring the bell there. One bell was kept in front of the palace there. He should come and ring the bell. Second one. Third one is, after completion of 3 years, once he is selected as a king, his both hands and legs will be tied up and he will be thrown other part of the river. That time that other part of one river was there next to the kingdom, and other part of the river was a big forest, and even people are very dared to go there, very much scared to go there, and a lot of cruel animals, Adivasis always staying there. So no chances of coming back once somebody goes there. So people are very much scared of that. So this is the condition number 3. There may be some logic in that. So after seeing this condition, nobody want to become a king. So days passed on. One day suddenly bell was ringing in front of the palace, and suddenly the minister saw one young man is standing there, and they were surprised. Are you above 18 years of age? Yes. And you are the person who rang the bell? Yes. So then do you know the third condition? He said, I read everything, I am ready for that. Then immediately they crowned him as a king. So he started ruling the kingdom. And days passed on, and he did very well there. Very good administrator. All people started liking him. People forgot when the 3 years gets over. Suddenly one day he himself called the meeting of all his associates and told, tomorrow will be my last day. No, sorry, today will be my last day. So as per the rule, you have to throw me by tying my hands and leg to the next jungle next to the river. But people were reluctant to do that. No, you are an excellent king. So who will rule us? You must continue. They have started pleading. But he said, no, rule is rule. This is just like NMIMS. Once a rule is there, it will rule, no change. So people have no other option. Okay, next day they tied up their hand and leg and they put in the boat. And they were about to drop him next to the river. River is passed, and suddenly for their surprise, they saw a big procession with a dole baja and all. People are coming from other part and receiving him, taking him with a big procession. Actually, when he was ruling this place, at the same time, he thought of his next 3 years. After 3 years, what will happen? He developed the contact with the other place and improved that area such that after 3 years, he has a big kingdom to rule. So that completes the story. So what is the moral of this story? Let me conclude. See, for next 3 years or 4 years, depending upon your number of years, you will be treated as a kings or queens here. All the facility will be given to you. Right? All your needs will be taken care. Best of academics will be given to you. There will be maybe moot court, maybe number of seminars, maybe extracurricular activities, whatnot. Everything will be given to you. You will be treated like a king or queen here. But after your years are over, you will be in the outside corporate world, cutthroat corporate world. So you have to prepare yourself in these 3 years or 4 years, whichever your time slot, so that you live like a king in rest of your life. All right? With this, I'll wish you all the best and do well. Come out with the flying colors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Quite a brilliant and deep story for all of us. So now I take the privilege to move to our special invitee and a brief introduction of Mr. Dev Bajpai, the Executive Director, Legal and Corporate Affairs and Company Secretary, Hindustan Unilever. Mr. Bajpai has been a member of the Managing Committee of HUL since May 2010 and was inducted on the Board of Directors of HUL as whole-time director with effect from January 2017. Mr. Bajpai is a fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India and has a law degree from the University of Delhi. He has completed an executive program for corporate counsels at Harvard, conducted by Harvard Law School. He has 30 years of experience in diverse industries that include automobiles, FMCG, hospitality, and private equity in the areas of legal, governance, tax, and corporate affairs. In the past, he has worked with Maruti Udyog Limited, Marico Limited, Indian Hotels Company Limited, and ICICI Venture Funds Management Company Limited. He has been a part of committees of apex industry organizations such as CII, FICCI. Mr. Dev has also represented the industry before parliamentary committees. I humbly request Mr. Bajpai to address the gathering.
Madam Roshan Dalvi, Dr. Kamath, Madam Munshi, and my young friends here. Let me start by extending my greetings for the 75th Independence Day. It's been a momentous journey for our country, and we feel so proud to be part of this country, and we've reached 75 years. Today we do miss those who were responsible, those freedom fighters, our forefathers who were responsible for getting us this freedom. But I'm sure wherever they are, they must be rejoicing, they must be very happy and satisfied to see this country free. But it does beg a question. We often are very cynical and we ask ourselves as to what has the country done for us. But I think this is time for us to rededicate to our country and ask the question, what can we do for our country? And I think each one of us has a role to play. All of you are in this law campus, in the law institution, and you're going to become budding lawyers. As you grow up, you've got an important role to play in nation building, as all of us have had our journey and we are continuing. I also feel very happy to come back to a law institution and to talk about, I was actually 3 weeks ago when I was told to come here and I accepted. I was keen to ask the organizers as to what subject should I speak on. Should it be some contemporary legal subject, or should it be something which the young lawyers will be very, it'll be useful for them. But I was told the most useful part would be my own journey to talk about, which I feel a shade embarrassed actually, because I never talk about about my journey, and I feel very humbled to get an opportunity to talk about myself. But be that as it may, I will try to make it interesting, and I hope I can leave, if I am able to influence in the right way, even one person here, I'll think that my job has been done. So let me just come to my initial years. Like I was introduced in a very gracious manner. I have had 30 plus years of experience, but my initial years were very, very humble. I come from a very middle class family with middle class values. My family and extended family are either from the judicial service, or they are lawyers, or are from the civil service. And my parents have been and have always are and have been my role models. My professional life began 30 plus years ago, as our colleague just mentioned. I opted for law as a career. I didn't, I had an option to get into the civil services, but I said I felt law was better because I'd seen my dad struggle a lot in the civil service, and I felt that, being a lawyer would probably be better. Well, I don't really entirely agree with that decision then, but be that as it may, I am here 30 years after, and I feel quite satisfied and content. I worked in diverse industries. Again, it was consumer durables, automobiles, private equity, hospitality, and FMCG. FMCG has been the longest, 13 years now in HUL and about 8 years in Marico, 21 years out of 32, 33 years, so a lot of FMCG experience. It's been an enriching and challenging experience. I've seen through an era of controls and permit Raj. Before 1991, we had a legal function which was tasked with getting permissions and approvals, and now legal functions and corporates are tasked with something else, and I'll talk to you about it in a minute. So I've seen it all, right from a control Raj to a journey of liberalization, which started in 1991 and still continues. And I had my own share of ups and downs, successes and failures. Some great opportunities and some great successes in FMCG, whether it was Marico and now HUL. Marico is a homegrown Indian FMCG company, and Harsh Mariwala, who is the promoter, has put in place best-in-class culture in Marico, and I was a beneficiary as I grew up and occupied senior positions at Marico. I really embraced that culture, and that has helped me in my life after Marico. And at Marico, it was all empowerment. It was all very, the culture was on first name terms. There was no hierarchy. And I just loved my 8 years over there. And I had some very good successes over there. And I just will allude to one or two of them. Maybe it's something which some of you may understand, you may not understand, but very senior people on the dais will understand what I'm talking about. In the good old days, many of our small-scale industry, before 1991, many of the items were reserved for exclusive manufacture by small-scale industry. And as India was liberalizing after the 1991 industrial policy came about, still a large number of items and articles were reserved for small-scale industry. And hair oils, which is the bread and butter of Marico, was one of the items which was reserved for exclusive manufacture by small-scale industry. And the government's condition was that if a medium-scale industry wanted to manufacture a small-scale item, it had to export 75% of its total turnover, which was very, very difficult for Marico to do at that point in time. So I was told by Harsh that, this has been a perennial problem. We have 8 or 9 subcontract units, and we have quality problems, we have excise duty problems, and but we have to live with this because the regulation doesn't permit us as a medium-sized company to manufacture a reserved item. And I said, okay, let me give it a try. I had come from Delhi, from Maruti, and I had some background of Delhi, so I said, let me try, let me give it a shot. And I just did some study backwards, realized that toothpaste, which is also a comparable product, had been de-reserved. And that gave me a lot of hope. And I said that let me try and see if I can do something, and started going to Delhi and to Udyog Bhavan, visiting them, requesting them, and there was a huge lobby which was against me, saying that how can you do this? This is reserved for small scale, it's a low technology item, we can do it with 2 crores or 5 crores of investment in plant and machinery, and why should big companies start manufacturing items which are reserved exclusively for small scale industry? With a lot of convincing, where I said that small scale will continue to manufacture. It isn't that we are taking away from the small scale the right to manufacture hair oils. With a lot of advocacy, I was able to, get this thing de-reserved. And it was, and when I still remember when I spoke to my counterpart in Dabur, which was the other big manufacturer, to seek his help, he said, look, this is a political hot potato. It will never happen, so don't even try. But some conviction inside me and this request from Harsh kept me going. It took me 2 years, but it finally happened. And that I still regard as something which was done on account of huge amount of advocacy, engagement with the government. And Marico is a very, very value-based company. very good culture, and we don't have any other ways but the right ways to do things there, and I was able to manage that. So that's one thing which I thought I'll just share with you. I don't know in today's day and age how relevant it is, because now everything is liberalized, and there are hardly any items which are reserved. In fact, none of them, because later on the list was scrapped, and rightfully so. Then we had another issue which I think I'll quickly talk about. Saffola is one of our premium products. Used to be, when I was in Marico, a premium product, and I don't know if some of you consume Saffola. It's a safflower seed oil, but it was a seasonal crop, and it used to get, it had a few seasons in a year where you could manufacture curdy seeds, grow curdy seeds and manufacture Saffola safflower oil out of it. So we thought of doing contract manufacturing for safflower seeds in Australia. But by the time we wanted to import the seeds into the country, we were signatories to WTO with a lot of regulations and a lot of qualitative restrictions on importing things like these into the country. And then again, it required me to do a lot of advocacy with the Ministry of Agriculture, because they said, you have to devitalize the seeds and bring into the country, which meant that all the oil of the seeds would be removed before the seeds were brought into the country, and that would make no sense. So with a lot of advocacy, and again with putting other measures in place and satisfying the Government of India and the Agriculture Ministry that we will ensure that no weeds and pests were to come into the country along with the seeds, the government agreed for us to bring the seeds into the country, and it was a big success. But apart from this, it's been a journey of learning as far as HUL is concerned. Again, big FMCG company, largest FMCG company in the country, and I'll talk in a bit about the company as well, but there have been a lot of learnings there. I've also worked in Indian Hotels, which is the Taj Group, and I wanted to get into hospitality services from manufacturing, and that was the reason that I went there. Very good company, true to their culture of hospitality, would go out of the way to help their guests, as we noticed when we had the terrorist attacks in Bombay, and the kind of help, support and solidarity that the Taj Group showed with the people and the guests is known to everyone. I don't have to talk about it. But it was a company which was incorporated in early 1900, and it had a culture which was slow to change, although they were extremely hospitable, true to their industry. And there, I think it took me some time to really adjust, and I regard that as one of my failures of not being able to carry the team with me, because the team was in some other era, and they had their own thoughts and their own ideas, and I had gone there from Marico, a company where everything was required yesterday. So that is something where I just could not manage to change, and I regard that as one of my leadership failures, and I have absolutely no qualms and hesitation in accepting it. But everything has a learning, everything teaches you in life, and from there I went into private equity, and I had a lot of successes, a lot of M&As, and I saw a full journey of raising the fund and divesting investments that we had made. Just a quick word on HUL. I can't not talk about it, having been there for the last 13 years. It's like home to me. And what happens is, when your own value system and the organization's value system, they converge, it has a different kind of magic, and it gives you the energy to go to work every day. And that's what has happened to us and many of my colleagues, all of us in HUL. Again, a very middle class kind of a company with the soul of a middle class, a company that manufactures Dove soaps and also Fair and Lovely, Wheel powder and also Surf Excel powder, Lakme color cosmetics, and also something like Indulekha hair oil. So it's meant for the entire country. We straddle the pyramid right from bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid. But just to share a few statistics with you, this company is almost 90 years old in the country, fifth largest in terms of market capitalization, 6.5 lakh crores, top 15 in foods and home and personal care globally. Our turnover is 50,334 crores as of last year, with a compounded annual growth rate of 9%. 9 out of 10 households in the country consume one or more of our brands. We have brands which go to 8 million stores in the country. We have a total universe of about 18 to 19 million stores, and we go to 8 to 9 million stores. We are employer of choice for the last several years across industry. It's industry agnostic, not just in FMCG. Number one advertiser with deep reach. We have saved or created water potential through our Hindustan Unilever Foundation, which is 1.3 trillion liters of water. And just to give you a sense of what it means meeting the water needs of adult population for a year of a country like India. Our thought is because our products consume water, we must give back something which we consume to the society. And therefore our entire effort is to democratize water, work both on the supply side and on the demand side to ensure that water tables in the country rise. And last but not the least, we are plastic neutral. So we almost consume 100,000 tons of plastic every year through our products. But we have collected from the streets of India more than 100,000 tons of plastics. And this is something which we are committed to do. We have already done it last year, and we'll continue to do that. Now, just quickly on principles that are dear to me, and for youngsters here, probably this may be of help to you, and I'm being very open in sharing what I have found myself to be very close to. Look, hard work and ownership, there's no substitute for that. Whether you join the corporate sector or you start practicing, if you know, hard work and ownership is a very, very profound word. You know, taking ownership end to end of any issue that is given to you, any work that you are asked to do is extremely important. And if you practice that early in your life, you will be successful. Always take a 360-degree view of things and issues. That has helped me personally, and I'm very keen to share this, that anything that is given to you, any problem, any issue that is given to you, look at it from all aspects. Don't look at it here and now, but look at it, what could be the long-term implications of the way you're looking at it, the way, the decision that you take with respect to that. Lead by setting an example. You know, you can't expect others to do things that you've not done yourself. So always lead by setting an example. Believe in the harder right than the easier wrong. It is very easy to take shortcuts, shortchange systems, people, or take an easier way out. But if you look at the harder right, you will always be more satisfied. You will have solutions which will be far more durable, which will be long-lasting, which will be sustainable. Be empathetic and adaptive. COVID has taught us that. We live in a BANI world. BANI stands for brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible. This is a phrase which has been authored or discovered by American anthropologist, futurist, Jamas Cassio. And he says today's world is brittle. Indeed it is brittle because, you know, businesses and organizations that are built on very weak foundation will brittle away and break in no time. Anxious, more so after COVID. We are all anxious both in our personal lives and in our professional lives. We don't know whether we'll have our jobs or not. So today anxiousness has taken the center stage in decision making. In a non-linear, there is nothing like linearity. Everything is non-linear. There are no standardized structures. Unless you have standardized structures, it is difficult to operate. And incomprehensible. Sometimes decisions that people take look so incomprehensible. What's happening across the globe today, it is absolutely incomprehensible. So, you know, and one has to be conscious that any decision taken will not resonate with everyone. And also, sometimes things have to be left open. You can't just jump and take decisions which might be disastrous for more people than those who go on war. New normal versus never normal. This is a phrase that I have designed. I feel that we used to talk about this is the new normal. Inflation, hyperinflation is the new normal. You know, we said this is the new normal, but actually we live in a world which is never normal. And the sooner we learn this, the better it is. Because the kind of external environment that we are grappling with today shows us this exactly. First we had COVID, we had a very, very intensive COVID second round, and then we've had supply chain disruptions across the world. We've had the war, while the war impacts the countries that are at war, but in today's day and age, the war impacts the entire globe. As we have seen, every country is impacted by this war for some reason or the other. So this is a Bani world, it's never normal, and learning doesn't stop. You see, for young lawyers here, you have to learn, you have to unlearn, and you have to relearn. So you have to constantly evolve. I was just talking to some colleagues just before coming here, and I said, you may be very big, you may be very, very, you may have a name, you may have a reputation, but you have to always reinvent yourself. You are always a test. You have to always prove yourself. As HUL, we are the largest FMCG company, but we want to become the most intelligible enterprise. We want to impact the lives of our consumers through digital technology. We want to reach the consumers fastest. We want to give them quality products. We want to ensure that we work with a lot of data scientists so that we can make sense out of something which is, looks so much disparate in today's world. And be a student all your life. This I firmly believe in, because learning is never over. Everyone is a student all one's life. Even today, after 32, 33 years of corporate life, something that I am short of is learning, reading. And lawyers cannot not read. You see, that's so critical. For lawyers to read is absolutely critical. You can't take shortcuts. Even today, if I don't read, if I'm not prepared, I'm not able to do my best. I can use my experience, but I can't get to the right outcome. So reading is absolutely critical, especially for this audience. And never forget where you came from. This is the ultimate mantra. You may be very big, you may be anywhere, but don't forget that house number from where you came, because that is most important. You have to be, we've coined a word in HUL, it's called ambitious. Ambitious. You have to be humble and you have to be ambitious. You can't, they are not mutually exclusive, they are intertwined. So you have to be humble as you grow up, as you become big, but you also have to, you may be ambitious, but you have to be humble. A few words of advice. Law as a discipline is an enthralling and energizing experience, as I have experienced this. It's something where you need to be patient, but it's absolutely enthralling and an energizing experience. It makes for a rewarding career. Clarity of thought, it just brings about so much of clarity of thought. It's such a course that it brings you a lot of clarity in your mind. It forces you to think rightly, it forces you to do the right thing. It gives you freedom within a framework. There is regulation, there is ethics, there is legality, there is governance, there is propriety. These are all our boundaries. This is the framework, and you have to work within that. As lawyers always look beyond the convention role. All of us, if I look at myself and my team at HUL, we can practically outsource our department. We can get the best of lawyers from law firms, we can get them to interpret, we can get them to draft, we are not really required. But we have to play a role which is beyond the conventional role. And that is, how can you contribute to the business? Whether you are a practicing lawyer, practicing in a court, or working for a law firm, you have to understand the need of your client. You have to understand what business she or he is in. What is the issue that is grappling them? There could be a legal issue, but there could be a larger business issue. So I urge you to really understand, get to the skin of the issues. If you're working in a company, you have to understand the levers that drive business. You have to understand what gives growth to that business. Yeah? And growth, again, coming back to what we practice in HUL, it's not just growth for profits. It is consistent growth, competitive growth, profitable growth, but most importantly, responsible growth. It is all about responsible growth. You must have heard about ESG now. It's something which is very much in the vogue, but it has very profound meaning. You have to build social value along with profits and along with economic value. Play to win and not to avoid losing. You have to always play to win. You can't just play to avoid losing. More often than not, lawyers become very, very defensive. They just don't want to go beyond. They want to just give an advice which is just here and now, just interpret the regulation. But you have to also look at what is the larger business objective. So long as you are within the four corners of the framework that I mentioned, play always to win, not to avoid losing. Make your knowledge of law a source of competitive advantage. You all will become specialists in law. You will be specialists. Make that as a source of competitive advantage in whatever organization you work. At HUL, the legal function works with the government in proactively shaping regulations, because we believe that we have a role to play in shaping regulations. There is no point accepting any regulation when it is already made, because then to unlock or to change it or to reverse it is a nightmare. It doesn't happen easily. So play always, co-create. Try and work with the government to create regulations. No regulation is first time right. It takes a lot of time. But if we make an effort to co-create regulation with the government, give them the right inputs, keeping our interest not in mind alone, but keeping the interests of consumers, customers, government in mind, then there is greater acceptability to whatever proposals you make to the government. Don't just be a lawyer, be a citizen lawyer. This is one of my favorite ones, where I feel that lawyers should not be lawyers only to the organization they serve, but they should be lawyers to the larger community. I'll give you an example. We have a big problem of counterfeiting. We are category leaders in most categories in which we operate, and therefore we have this problem of a lot of unscrupulous people wanting to copy our products and selling it in the market. In India, in the FMCG industry, which is almost 3 lakh crore, the organized FMCG industry is 3 lakh crore, and 10 to 15% is counterfeited industry. So 30 to 40,000 crores of counterfeit sells in this country. And the business model of counterfeiters is of a different order. We can't get to their speed. Today they are counterfeiting soaps, tomorrow they'll do skin creams, day after they'll do cigarettes, and the lay consumer is taken for a ride. So what we've done is created a crack team which goes after them, but more importantly, and that's where responsible angle of our growth comes in. We are teaching IPR to students of 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th grades in schools. My team goes to schools and teaches them what is a trademark, what is a copyright, what should you be looking at next time you go to the market, what could be as fake, what could be as spurious, what could be a lookalike. And our thought is that the consumers of tomorrow who would succeed us would be better educated, or the consumers today or the children today will influence the decision makers who are mothers in the families to buy the right products. So that's the responsible bit, because we feel that we owe it to the society. If our products are getting counterfeited, we also have a responsibility to educate people on what counterfeiting is and how can they protect themselves from counterfeiting. And finally, have a purpose. In life, always have a purpose. It will help you in your professional life and in your personal life. My purpose in life is do the right thing in the right way. It's very simple. I want to do the right thing at work and for the society, and I want to do it in the right way. I want to focus both on the what and on the how. So always have a purpose. If you have a purpose from a young age and you deploy that purpose in your mind and in your work, you will find that you have huge amount of clarity and you know exactly what you should be doing. So with that, I just want to also take the opportunity to wish Dr. Patel well. I heard she's not well. And one thing which resonates with me here is a lot of women lawyers, which is very good to see, because HUL has collaborated with the National Law School, Bangalore, and we have scholarships for women, for young women, and we want to give meritorious young women scholarships so that they can come forward and do a degree in law. And I was told that over the years the admission of women in law schools has come down, so we said we must, to give a fillip to our equity, diversity and inclusion agenda, we must do something like that, and we just did this with the National Law School Bangalore. So I'm very delighted to see a lot of women in this audience. So with that, thank you so much for the opportunity and all the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The words really did make a deep mark, and those words of wisdom will not be forgotten. Thank you so much, sir. I deem it a privilege, first of all, on behalf of SVKM's NMIMS and Kirit Mehta School of Law, to wish Justice Roshan Dalvi Navroz Mubarak, and to give a brief introduction of our chief guest for the day. Ms. Roshan Dalvi is a BCom with business management and LLM in commercial laws. She has been in the legal field for 45 years, 27 of them as judge, presiding over civil trials, and has been practicing as arbitrator and mediator in commercial, construction, family and property disputes since 2016. She studied the report of Lord Justice Wolfe on court and case management in Warwick University, Coventry, UK, which is indispensable in arbitration and mediation, the two ADR systems. She uses business principles applicable to law and management of cases, combining the knowledge of business and commerce with the ideals of case management to streamline and expedite case disposal in domestic and international arbitrations. She studied peace and conflict resolution for advanced mediation in Chulalongkorn University, Bangkok, and is a Rotary Peace Fellow. She combines conflict resolution with client counseling and neutral evaluation for resolution of disputes in arbitration. She is a fellow and vice president of the Commonwealth Judicial Education Institute, Halifax, Canada. She is the author of legal articles on arbitration, etc., and 2 books, Tangible Justice, Setting Out Memories of Her Judicial Life, and Women, Her Trials and Triumphs, are in publication. She conducts workshops for judges and lawyers on gender sensitization, arbitration, mediation, human rights, case management, commercial contracts, etc. She is a guest lecturer in the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, in the Master's Program in Access to Justice. Her judgments include interpretation of construction and commercial contracts, property litigation, family litigation, the law of evidence, and a wide repertoire of socio-legal subjects, including the proprietary rights of Hindu women, the constitutional validity of interstate succession of Hindu women, child rights, women's rights, human rights of crimes, as also cases of economic offenders involving bank frauds. I humbly request Ms. Talvi to come and deliver her keynote address.
Mr. Bajpai, Dr. Kamath, Dr. Munshi, and my friends, good evening. I come here as your friend, and I like to talk to youngsters. It charges me. Today I was told this is an orientation lecture in a law college. I thought, what orientation lecture did I have in my law college? None. I took to law 49 and a quarter years ago. To be precise, in June 1973. I graduated in 76 and became a lawyer. So I'm a lawyer for 46 years, and as the introducer told you, 27 of them are as judge. Now when I went into law school, I got admission. I had secured a first class, and I was signed off and said, yes, you come to our college. Then we were given a timetable, and we saw this is the first day of college. So we went to college, and we sat in that division which was allotted to us, and the lecture began, period. In our law college, in our law semesters, we had only one co-curricular activity, moot court. I wanted to take part in many of those, so I took part in the moot court. I got the first prize. And what is my first prize? It is a tiny medal saying Government Law College, 3rd year, moot court, first prize. It is in a tiny box and it lies in my cupboard. Today, we have huge trophies as the first prize of the moot court. We have gone so far. I was happy, friends, that you have an orientation, which I never had. And this orientation will orient you into thinking. Because they say, what is education? It is replacing an empty mind with an open mind. And for lawyers, friends, and even judges thereafter, because some of you would be, an open and objective mind is required. And what are the activities, the articulations that we require in our profession? First is experience, which we get every day. You'll get experience of your studies, you'll get experience of your internship, then you'll get experience of court atmosphere, courtroom conduct, and various things as you go along. Each day is an education. After experience, we must assimilate. And that assimilation of experience actually gives us the inner strength to combat anything. And that comes with analysis of law. Now, every law, friends, that you will learn, as soon as you open a law book, any act or any law will give you a statement of objects and reasons. And as the learned speaker said, there must be a purpose in your life. There is always a purpose of a legislation. Why was this legislation brought in is the first question any lawyer must ask himself or herself before he argues or even researches a case. Now, while you are going to be in the practicing field, friends, you will require what I would say are the 3 R's. The first is reflect. The second is research. And then the third is response. So unless you reflect on what is the purpose of the legislation, why was it brought, what is the mischief that it seeks to remedy, what is the real object it seeks to enhance, you will not be able to interpret that law. And if you cannot interpret that law, you will not be able to argue it out by analyzing it for your client. And for doing that, you will require a lot of research. In law, as he said, you have to go on reading all the time. It's absolutely correct. But what do we read? We read laws. And laws are made by the legislature. But that's not all. We read laws which are called judge-made laws. Those are the precedents. And there is a lot of research that would go into finding out the right precedent for your client when you're going in. Only after you have done this reflection on the law, the research on the law, that you will be able to respond to whatever the court might ask you, to whatever your client would want from you. And that is your calling. As you go along, friends, you will be requiring a lot many other things than what comes in your classrooms. Today we call it clinical legal education. Clinical legal education is what you are going to have outside your college. And your college will be able to help you get that. I am into clinical legal education today because as an arbitrator, I would take an intern, and my practice is to take interns per arbitrations so that my interns who are law college students would be able to first reflect upon what is the matter before me, which I will discuss with them. Then they would research, and then they would respond to me so that they would be able to tell me and discuss with me what happens. Now this is a part of your, I presume, syllabus that I was told, some 100-mark syllabus for internships. This is clinical legal education. And what kind of clinical legal education we have today is called client-centered learning. I learned that first in Warwick University when I went, and I realized that that is not really a lecture of the kind I'm giving you today, but it is interactive thinking. So that opens minds. And an open mind is what is always required for lawyers and judges. And for all other streams also, like for example, if you are a commentator of the law, or if you are a journalist and you are dealing with laws for everything, And they say open mind is like a parachute. It works only when it is open. A parachute doesn't work when it closes. And that kind of a mind is required. Now, friends, there are various streams of law also. And it is not only that you do the sessions that you are going to have, the semesters that you are going to have. You have many other courses. And there are students who say, oh, I don't want to take this course or any such thing, because then I'm not interested. But it is not that several of these courses are not useful for all of us. As the learned speaker said about IPR, for example, that they teach young people, and they say, teach them young, it is forever. So the basics of IPR are taught in schools, I'm very glad to know. And there are many other fields of law which everyone in our population should know. Even if you're going to become a doctor or a diplomat or an architect, you should be knowing some basic fundamentals of certain laws. And I'll tell you which. We talk much about human rights. Now, there are human rights also having various divisions. There are human rights of the accused in criminal law. There are human rights of the pedestrians when they are walking. There are human rights of people, the environment. There are human rights of women and children. These are the worst violations in our society. Now, some of you will say, oh, no, I'm taking IPR. So I know what is the trademark and I know what is copyright and patent. Why should I know about human rights of women and children? But women and children make up all our families. You have women and children everywhere. You're going to have your own child. And you should be knowing what might happen to your child. Your child should know what is happening to her or him. These are the things which go to the basis of our society. And law, as an instrument of social welfare, friends, deals with many, many such lines of thought. One is sociology, political science, psychology, counseling, of course, IPR and corporate laws, human rights, etc., are intertwined with our own lives. And that makes us not only a good lawyer, but a good human being. Because we are not going to manufacture soaps. We are going to manufacture cases. We are going to work for people, for human beings. And therefore, the basis of our thought should be the welfare of humankind. And if, friends, you are going to be able to do that, you are going to go far ahead of the laws. And anyone, you see the freedom struggle, for example. When we had our freedom struggle, doctors didn't come out, architects didn't come out, lawyers came out. In all the societies, it is so. In World War II, they said that when all of those fighter planes were going, they required engineers. But engineers remained engineers. They were overhauling diesel machines. But when they had to actually take the prisoners of war, whom did they require? They required lawyers. Why? Because lawyers have the analytical ability. They have the interpretational skills. And when they take evidence, they see what actually comes out. And I would say that latent evidence is what a fine lawyer or a fine judge will find out from somewhere in the case. And that is the skill which must be developed. That skill comes with learning, with experience, with research, and with thought, labor and thought. I hope that I have kind of told you a very large perspective of the field and the world that is going to be opening up to you. As lawyers, you would be many other things. Like you would be a corporate head, a whole-time director of a company like HUL. But your basic teaching will be in law. And law goes very well, not only with these subjects which I told you which are different, but also with something like management. That is not understood. In this institute, they have a very fine course called MBA Law. I'm told it's a one-year course. They deal with business principles. Now, I was very interested in business principles, and I gave them a lecture in one day in this building or in the opposite building, I don't know where. It's a large thing, where I found management students coming into law. When I was a lawyer, I was told that a fine lawyer is also a good teacher. So I thought that I must also be a teacher. And I wanted to teach law. I was interviewed for the Bajaj Institute of Management. Now, in the various management courses, they have a subject of law. That is commercial law and corporate law. So I was to teach company law. And the person who interviewed me, Mr. Parekh, who at that time was in NOSIL, a very senior man, even at that time in about 1979 when I joined there, he said, you do whichever way you want. Everything is flexible in the business school of management. But you have to make them managers, not lawyers. Only keep that in mind. Now, I was just wondering, what is this difference between being a manager and a lawyer? A lawyer always looks at cases, because we work on precedents. That is our main law, aside from the legislative law. A manager works on practicalities. And the merger and the marriage of these practicalities and procedures is what a fine lawyer would be, inside court and outside court. Now, while you are doing that, friends, again, there will be various fields opening up to you. It begins with what I would call client counseling. Now, in the college, aside from these moot courts, we have many other activities now, which I didn't have in my days. Judgment writing competitions, debates, essay writing competitions, client counseling, negotiation skills, etc. Now, these negotiation skills also of a lawyer are becoming exceedingly important today, because parties have realized that with having 3 crore cases in our courts, we are not going to see the end of the tunnel very soon in our courts. And therefore, let us strive to get something which is a bird in hand today. A good lawyer would make hay there. What he would do is counsel the client into what we call neutral evaluation. Evaluation of the case, telling him where he is wrong and where he is right, how far he can go, and then negotiating with the other side. This client counseling and negotiation skills are gaining importance. There is today a 2-year master's degree course in MNLU on mediation and negotiation, which you can take up after your law degree is done, or perhaps even together with it, I don't know. It's a very fine course, and it is open for people like bank managers, government servants. Government servants means top government officers, lawyers, negotiators, corporates, etc. Then the introducer said that I am a guest lecturer in Tata Institute of Social Sciences. That has a very fine master's degree course on access to justice. For those of you who will keep sociology and law together, and who would want to give back to the society what you get from law, you can take up that course after your graduation. It is a master's degree course for marginalized people, etc. Where there we teach ADR, case management, and various other things which are taught by other lecturers. So, friends, it is not only that as I came into the law field 49 years ago and did those 4 subjects for the first semester, 4 subjects for the second semester, etc., we are going to do only that. You are going to do a lot more. But The real two aspects, they say, of what a lawyer should have is a clear mind and a loud voice. I hope my voice is loud enough. You don't know whether my mind is clear. But I will give you an example of what a clear mind would be. There was once an employer who had radical thinking. He wanted to employ someone as his counsel in his corporation. Many people had applied. He didn't want to ask them questions. He had seen their CV. He had eliminated some. He had got certain people before him. He told them that I will tell you a case. You have to put questions to me. So he said that there was once a farmer. He had a farm. He had a barn on his farm. He harvested his crop. He kept it in the barn. In the night, he took a lamp and went into his field, and he was seeing whether there were any rats, whether there was any kind of problem in the barn. Just as he opened the door, a rat went out. The lantern that he was carrying fell down. The hay and the other crops that were there caught fire. The entire barn was burnt. The fire came into his field. He had to run for his life. He went to a lawyer. Now, what will he get from the lawyer? So, the employer said, which are the questions that you would ask the farmer? And many of these interviewees started asking questions. Was your farm insured? What was the extent of your crop? What was the value? What was the market value? And what did you get last year? And all of those things. The interviewer was not impressed until one boy in the corner said, "Sir, what happened to the rat?" That boy got the job. That is what lawyers must do. They must find out that rat, the person, the thing which is the real troublemaker against whom you must go, and not go round and round, which many lawyers do, of course. So, a good lawyer with clarity of mind, analytical ability, interpretational skills will ask this question. Okay? And don't think that today when you don't know any law, you are not going to be able to make it. You are going to know a lot more every day. And your teachers are going to be able to tell you that. And I may say that every one of you would make a fine diamond. I will end with one poem. A diamond in the rough is a diamond sure enough. For before it ever sparkles, it's made of diamond stuff. Of course, someone must find it, or it will never be found. Then someone must grind it, or it will never be ground. But when it's found, and when it's ground, and when it's burnished bright, that's diamond everlasting, giving out its light. Oh teacher, disappointed? Don't say you've had enough. The worst student in your class may be a diamond in the rough. Good luck, Godspeed.
Thank you, ma'am. It's indeed quite an interesting day today, I'm sure, that we heard a lot of personal instances, we heard interesting stories and poetry, and I'm sure that you all had a well day spent. So let me now take the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks with the blessings of our Chancellor, Shri Amrish Bhai Patel, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ramesh Bhatt, and mentor, Mr. Harshal Shah, who are the guiding light for our law school and university. I first would like to thank our chief guest of the day, Ms. Roshan Dalvi, for taking us through her personal view on how it was when she started her legal journey. And the 3 R's, I'm sure that any student of management and of course humanities as well will learn the 3 R's, that is to reflect, research and respond. So that definitely has made a bright mark in all of us. And to have an open mind and many, many interesting aspects which I'm sure has almost opened a lid to many interesting, if I say, experiences that you will relish in the coming time. Our special invitee, Mr. Dev Bajpai, we are very thankful to him. In fact, before the start, he inquired with us what sort of a talk should I give, and of course we prodded him that why don't you tell us about your journey, and we're very happy that in fact quite nice coincidence that both our guests of honor shared about their personal legal journey and the life experience that they've had. And thank you, sir, for sharing your words of wisdom and the principles that you have learned, and you've given them all something to ponder about. Kamath, sir, thank you for being with us all through, and you've introduced the university, and you've also given a nice story that all of us relished, a story of a young man who became a king. And I'm sure that that story has resonated with all of us, in fact, the students who will definitely be, if I can bring both the persons on the dais together, a diamond in the making. Dr. Munshi, who spoke in Durgamini Madam's absence, thank you, ma'am. And also I thank Dr. Durgamini Patel for the message she sent across to be read in her absence here. And of course to all of you for being here, being very patient, and I see that parents are also here. So thank you very much. And of course my faculty colleagues and staff members who've been here braving all the time, listening, and of course being very patient all along. So thank you all for being here. And with this I formally declare that the inaugural session of the orientation program has come to an end, and I request the students to stand till the dignitaries are escorted from the hall, and please remain in the seats.